and welcome to episode 8 of the Milk Thistle podcast. My name is Kate and I'm coming to you today, as always, from Australia, where I am currently living on the east coast of Australia, and it is very, very warm here at the moment. We're in the middle of summer and it has been a very hot summer even by Australian standards. But despite that, I have still been doing quite a bit of knitting, mostly on small things because large things on your lap when it's this hot are no fun. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. I really hope that you enjoy the podcast, and I would love to hear from you, whether you are new or returning. So there are a couple of ways you can find me. Please feel free to like or comment below and subscribe to the channel. I'm also on Instagram as Milk Thistle Fibre Arts, and we have a Ravelry group, which you can find by going to Ravelry under the Groups tab, searching Milk Thistle Podcast. And feel free to come over and say hello, introduce yourself. I am ever so slightly woeful at Ravelry. I'm much better at Instagram, but I am trying to improve my Ravelry game this year. So hopefully that will pick up. Either way, I would love to hear from you. Today I will be talking about knitting, as always. This is a predominantly knitting and fibre related podcast. I will be talking to you today about projects, purchases and plans, basically. So without further ado, let's get into things. The first project I'd like to speak to you about is my Grettir sweater. And it's not actually my Grettir sweater, it is a jumper that I made for my boyfriend, and I finished it yesterday. It is currently blocking, and it's been blocked and it's drying. So I will insert some video of him wearing it if I turn the air conditioning up high enough and convince him to put on a 100% wool sweater in the middle of summer. But fingers crossed he will oblige. But this is the pattern that I used. So it's called Greta. It is a Brooklyn tweed pattern designed by Jared Flood, and it's beautiful. It was really, really lovely to knit. I knit it using a Quince & Co. lock. I have a tag for that here. So we are focusing, maybe. Quince & Co. lock. So 100% American wool. They come in 50-gram balls of 134 yards or 123 meters. And so the main body, I used a color called Caspian, which is this one. And this is an undyed, just a natural color, which was really beautiful. That's all I had left. I bought the recommended quantities, and yeah, I'll show you what I have left. I also used egret, which is white, and that's all I have left of his little ball. Then Ordwin was also part of the color work, and Sabine. I have quite a lot more of this one left because you had to buy 2 balls of this, whereas only 1 ball of the other color work colors. So yeah, those are the colors I used for the Grettir sweater. These are all undyed, so this was the only dyed wool that I used for the project. And yeah, I'm really happy with it, so have a look.
An ode to jointing chicken. Place the chicken breast uppermost on a board. Pull each leg out and away from the breast and carefully cut the skin low down to preserve as much skin cover for the delicate breast meat as possible. Twist the leg backwards, cut around the exposed ball joint and sever the leg. Divide the leg into a drumstick and thigh. Press the wing joint back towards the chopping board and cut between the ball and socket joint at the shoulder to sever the wing. Cut straight through the breastbone to divide the breast section and cut away the backbone. Remove the 2 little cushions of flesh on either side of the backbone, the oysters.
For the Grettir Sweater, I only made one alteration, and that was I did not follow the increases on the sleeves. I had Caleb sitting next to me, and I was trying the sleeves on and increasing where necessary so they were fit to his arms, and I did end up with a substantially smaller stitch count than was recommended by the pattern, because I originally knit one sleeve to the pattern and there was something crazy like 6 or 7 inches of positive ease. It was a really big, it was almost twice the size it needed to be. So I ripped that back to the ribbing around the cuff, and I just did a custom increase basically to fit his arm. Then when I got to the top of both the sleeves, I counted my stitches across the body and both the sleeves and adjusted accordingly. I had to add a couple of stitches, and I added them just to the inside of where the sleeves met the body of the jumper on the back. And so I think I have maybe 1 or 2 less repeats of the color work in the yoke, but it worked out completely fine. Apart from that, I did the short rows and everything like that that are written in the pattern. I did them as is, even though I had messed with the stitch count around the yoke. And I tried it on him before it was blocked, and everything fit completely fine. So yeah, slight difference, but it does still fit him, and he's very happy with how it's turned out. Another project that I have been working on lately is a pair of socks. I'll just pop one on a sock blocker because I finished this one this morning. And these are for me. Aren't they pretty? So these socks are knit in Hedgehog fibers. This pink is a color called Jelly, and then the body of the sock is the color Teacup. And yeah, it's a vanilla sock. My basic recipe is a 64 stitch cast on. I do 1x1 ribbing for a little over an inch. Then I knit the leg as long as I'm feeling on the day, or as long as I like in terms of how the pattern is looking. For this one, I put in a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and yeah, I've just used a tiny bit on the top of the cuff of the pink and a tiny bit on the end of the toe. It's on this sock blocker a bit wonky, sorry. Is that a bit better? Yeah, in the jelly color. So this is Jelly by Hedgehog Fibers in their sock base, and this is Teacup. So Teacup is a cream base with flecks of medium to dark brown and tiny hints of the hot pink that is Jelly. So they go really beautifully together. I used both of these in my Doodler shawl, which turned into a dudette, which is a pattern by Stephen West. And yeah, I really like the way they go together. So I have cast on the second sock this morning, but he's just a little guy, literally just cast it on. So I knit my socks on 2mm needles. These ones are carbons on a excessively long cord. I don't normally use a cord this long, but I bought, I think it's 40 inches, but I bought this cord with the idea in mind that I would knit 2 at a time socks. And I have knit half a pair of socks that are currently sitting with live stitches in another room, but I wasn't enjoying them, so I think I'm going to pick them up and just knit them 1 at a time. I will try 2 at a time again at some point, but I will possibly try knitting them toe up rather than cuff down. Anyway, at the moment I'm enjoying knitting socks 1 at a time, but yeah, on 2mm needles. So these are my Hedgehog fiber teacup and jelly socks. The next project that I have is a shawl that I just cast on the night before last, or last night, can't remember, but very recently. It is living in my beautiful blue Fringe Supply Co field bag. So the pattern for this one is called Sonnensegel by Ulrich Altrog. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I just butchered your name entirely. It's a very sweet pattern though. So I don't know if you can see. It is garter rows of a fingering weight yarn and then stockinette stitch of a lace weight kid silk blend. So it turns into, it starts itty bitty baby down this end, and it turns into a very large triangle. It's very simple. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and so it becomes a very large triangle, and then you can hang tassels or pom-poms or whatever makes you happy off the corners. For this, these are the yarns I'm using. This is a yarn by Manos del Uruguay, and it is in their Fino base, which is a fingering weight single ply yarn, and this color is called Antique Lace. It's really beautiful. It's very pale blue silver with neutral beiges through it. And then I went with a beige Debbie Bliss Angel. This color is 15005, and this is a silk mohair blend. So I have the labels for each. The Debbie Bliss Angel, yeah, Super Kid mohair and silk, so 76% mohair, 24% silk, and it comes in 25 gram balls with 400 meters, no, 200 meters, sorry, per ball. And then the Antique Lace Manos del Uruguay is 30% silk and 70% merino wool, and it comes in 100 gram skein, and there are 490 yards or 450 meters, so it's quite a light fingering. But yeah, so those are the two together, and I think it's turning out really beautifully. The more, I've never actually worked with anything with mohair in it before, and the more I do work with it, the more I realize that I'm not going to be able to have this near my face. The fluff gets in my eyes, and I'm a naturally allergy prone human, so it makes me very itchy, and yeah, it's not something that I will be wearing. So I think this will be a gift, but it's a pattern that I think I saw it on Hedgehog Yarn's Instagram page, and I just thought it looked beautiful, simple, but slightly different, so I wanted to give it a go. and I'm happy I did. I'm knitting this, the recommended needle is a 4.5mm needle. I'm a very loose knitter. I'm using a 3.75, and I'm using Addy Turbo, the ones with the gold cord circulars. But as you can see, it's quite a dull point, and unfortunately these are the only needles I have in this size at the moment, but working with the lace weight mohair silk blend, sometimes it's a little difficult when doing the increased stitches to pick up. I think I do need a lace tip or a pointier tip, but it's not impossible, and it's not enough. It's not frustrating enough for me to go out and purchase different needles, because I do really like these. The solid metal needles I find slide really well and are fast to knit with, so I think I'll stick with them. But yeah, it's exciting. A new shawl. Yeah, and I have plans for another shawl, which actually is a nice segue, because those are all the things I've been working on. I put a lot of work into Caleb's jumper, so that's where most of my time was taken up by. So in terms of plans, I have caked up the wool for a shawl that I would like to make, actually one that my mum requested, and it is from the Making magazine, and this is issue 2, Fauna. This is a spectacular magazine. If you haven't been lucky enough to see one in person, I highly recommend sorting it out. The quality of both the patterns and the production is really impressive. So this is the Open Waters Shawl by Melanie Berg. And yeah, my mum wants one, so I'm going to make it for her. I'm going to make it out of Life in the Long Grass yarn. This is the label. So it is a 4-ply, 50% superwash merino, 50% silk, 425 yards or 400 meters in a 100-gram skein, and the color is Beachcomber, as in C-O-M-B-E-R, not C-O-M-A. Anyway, so this is the color. This is all caked up, and it is a lovely sandy base with flecks of turquoise green and a dark blue grey and slight pinks, almost salmony tones in there, and it's really beautiful. Now this is a giant cake of yarn. It's a 300-gram cake. For Christmas, I was a very, very lucky girl and was given a new ball winder, and it is one of these Stanwood large metal ball winders that you can wind up to a 10-ounce cake on. And my boyfriend purchased it for me for Christmas, and he was super excited about making the biggest ball of wool that he possibly could, and this was the result. A cake basically as big as my head. And it is really fun. I'm not sure how practical it's going to be carrying around a cake this large. I may break it back down into 3 separate cakes, but it was really fun and actually really fast. That ball winder is spectacular. It's so smooth, and you can feel the quality in it. Yeah, it does. It works really well, and I feel like it's going to last me a lifetime. Previously, I had a plastic ball winder from Knit Picks, and I got a lot of use out of it, but I found that the plastic was wearing, and the balls or the cakes that were coming off it were starting to become very lopsided, and it had missed some rotations, and then you'd end up, you know, spiraling around the base of the bobbin, rather than around the cake. And so it was definitely time for me to get a new one. So I'm very, very happy with my Christmas gift, and also childishly excited by a giant cake of wool. But yeah, so this will be an open water shawl for my mum, but I think I will probably finish the Sonnensegel shawl before I start another one. It's only reasonable, right? Maybe, we'll see. I do really want to play with that wool. Such a beautiful color and a really beautiful pattern. I've never knit anything by Melanie Berg before, so I am very excited to try one of her patterns. I've heard nothing but great things, and aesthetically she writes beautiful patterns. If you've been over to her Instagram feed, I'm sure you'll know what I'm speaking about. Her aesthetic is very lovely and clean and beautiful textures with beautiful quality yarns, and I'm very, very excited. So on to purchases. I don't think my ball winder counts as a purchase. It was a gift, but it's definitely an exciting new toy. I did, however, purchase one skein of wool over the Christmas period, and it is from Lara at the Fauna and the Fox. Sorry if there's crazy shadows on that. But this was a skein that she spoke about on her podcast. So the Fauna and the Fox podcast, which if you haven't checked out, you really should. Lara is a really lovely human being, and she has such a sweet podcast, and she makes beautiful things. So I'll pull this out. So yeah, this is a skein that she showed on her podcast, and she didn't know if she was going to sell because it was a new base that included yak, and because of the yak, it begins off with, if you can see this color here, it begins off being almost that tone. So it varied the colors in a way that she wasn't yet used to, and I messaged her and said, it's beautiful. If you're not putting it in your shop, can I please purchase it? And she very kindly let me. So she has called this her Lynx base. It's a fingering weight single ply, 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, 15% yak, and it's 120 gram ball. And this is her gypsy colorway, and it's gorgeous. Like, it's so pretty with blues and pinks. There's little golds in here and greens, and then that lovely gray of the yak. Oh, I'm so excited to play with this. It's really, really beautiful. So thank you so much, Lara, for letting me purchase it. I love it, and you will definitely be seeing more of this beautiful little baby in the near future. Oh, it's so shiny and soft too. I've never worked with anything with yak as a base before, so I'm really excited to try it out. It is very, very soft, and it has, I'm not sure if the sheen is from the silk, because it does have a silk sheen to it and a beautiful drape, but it is just stunning. So yeah, the Fawn and the Fox. So exciting. I have another gift. I'm not sure if this is going to glare. This is not yarn related, and there's glare on it, so I'm going to take it out of its plastic packaging. Sorry. So this is a print. Isn't it cute? It's a zebbit. And this was given to me as a gift, and Laurel Bush Creations is the name of the artist's company, and Lauren Harriman is the artist. So if you go to www.laurelbush.com, you can see there are some, I'm fairly certain I was told that it was an option between this one and between the zebbet and the I can't remember what the word was, but I'm fairly certain it was a combination between an alpaca and an owl. Oh yeah, an alpaca. Silly Kate. Anyway, so I'm really interested to see what the alpaca looks like as well. But I really love the zebbet. I need to find a frame for it so I can hang it. It's a really just fun, lovely print. So that's all I have today in terms of projects and purchases and plans for my knitting future. But I do have an announcement. This week I have opened my own Etsy store. I have been dyeing wool for a little while, but have decided to sell some of the wool that I'm producing rather than just using it for myself. And I'm really excited to share this with you. So if you're interested in hearing about that, please stick around. I won't keep you for too long. But these are the colors that that I've dyed up for the store. So I'll bring them down. This is just a little bunch of them. And I sourced Australian raised and spun wool. So everything has been processed in Australia and obviously dyed here by me as well. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I will I'll show you the colors. This one, so this is, can we see? Anyway, this is the label. So it's Milk Thistle Fiber Arts up on Etsy. This color is called Ziglindelos. So it is a Harry Potter inspired color of pale green, little flecks of blue, yellow, and darker green. Yeah, like I said, I think this one's my favorite. The other Harry Potter inspired ones that I have in here are this hot pink, which is Hagrid's pink umbrella, which I adore. This color is called Butterbeer, and it is lovely, rich, honeycomb yellow with flecks of darker yellow and like mustard tones and black. I then also have Freshly Caught Cornish Pixies, which is a vibrant electric blue. I have Silver and Opals. So this has got just hints of very pale pinks and blues on a very neutral white base. I have Oyster Blue, which is a very muted, it's showing up slightly brighter than it actually is in real life, but it's a very muted blue, and Vintage Fairy Floss, which is a muted pink purple. I think that's everyone. I just did a couple of colors to begin with to see if you guys like them. But yeah, there's a couple of families that kind of match in, lots of combinations that I like. So yeah, head over to the Etsy shop and check them out. Let me know what you think. I'm very excited, obviously. The base I have used for all of these is a 4-ply, but it is a slightly heavier fingering weight. It's still a fingering weight yarn, but it's slightly heavier. There's 305 meters or 333 yards per 100 gram ball, and it's 80% Australian superwash merino and 20% nylon. I am also working on a sock pattern at the moment. which I've knit up. This is the Butterbeer colorway, and I'll talk more about that probably next time when I have actually knit the pattern a couple more times, tested it out. But just so you know, this is the Butterbeer color with the little flecks of black, neutrals, darker yellows. Yeah. But there are lots of things in the works, and I'm very excited to be able to share them with you. This is kind of why it's been so long in between podcasts. I have been trying very hard to get this up and running, and to a standard that I'm proud of. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I wasn't going to put a product out into the world that I wasn't happy to use myself, and that I wasn't proud of. And I think that I have created a range of colors that are beautiful, that work well with each other or with, other yarns that you have, and I'm very happy with the quality of them. So hopefully you are too. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend with me. I know there are a lot of podcasts that you can choose from, and I really appreciate that you have chosen the Milk Thistle podcast. Once again, you can find me on Instagram as Milk Thistle Fiber Arts, or head over to Ravelry and search in the groups tab Milk Thistle Podcast. I would love to hear from you, so give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, whatever makes you happy. But yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Until then, happy knitting and enjoy. Bye.